Yeah, I want you at the podium. What exactly are you wearing?
I'm sorry.
You look like you have a swimsuit on to me.
No, it's not a swimsuit, and I did not know this was a court date. I just told the lady back there that I'm not dressed properly for court at all.
Really? Yes, you are not. I agree with that 100%. That's very insulting to me, that you would come into my courtroom dressed like that.
I apologize. I had no idea it was in as a visit and not a court date. So I was unaware that this was a court date. Because she wrote on the back of the car a visit. So it was never said that this was a court date.
All right, this is case number 23CR 40542, the state of Ohio versus Monique Smith. Ms. Smith, the court has received a report that alleges that you have violated the terms of your ILC. Officer, statement of the allegation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Smith has violated ILC condition number 1, and then on June 11th of 2025, the defendant pled guilty to and was sentenced for 1 count of OVI and 1 count of driving under suspension. This was in Middletown. And then on June 11th, the defendant pled guilty and was sentenced for another count of driving under suspension under a different case number, also in Middletown. On December 10th, 2024, the defendant pled guilty to and was sentenced for 1 count of driving under suspension, or under an OVI suspension under a case in Middletown. And on July 12th, 2024, the defendant pled guilty to and was sentenced for 1 count of driving under suspension. As well as ILC condition number 8, the defendant has failed to inform her probation officer of law enforcement contact after picking up a new OVI charge and another traffic offense on March 24th of 2025. Special condition number 16C, the defendant failed to complete drug or alcohol treatment as ordered on February 1st of 2024. Special condition 16D, the defendant has failed to complete mental health treatment as ordered on February 1st, 2024. Special condition 16E, to date, the defendant has failed to pay restitution in full as ordered on February 1st, 2024. And finally, special condition 16F, to date, the defendant has failed to obtain her GED as ordered on February 1st, 2024.
Ms. Smith, do you understand those allegations?
Yes, sir.
You have a right to be represented by counsel. If you cannot afford an attorney, I will appoint one for you. Do you have the funds to hire an attorney?
I do not.
Do you want me to appoint you one?
Yes, please.
Mr. Mall's handing you an affidavit of indigency that you need to sign.
Okay. Right above my name.
Why is she not in custody?
Your Honor, Ms. Smith, despite her noncompliance with court orders, she has continued to drug test negative, and she has appeared for order to reports after they were issued.
Thank you. All right, the court will find that you're indigent for the purposes of retaining counsel. The court will appoint attorney Roger Bouchard to represent you in this matter. Court finds that there's probable cause you have violated the terms of your ILC, and this matter is going to be set for final hearing. Ms. Smith, I don't know what you expect. Looking at your record, this isn't your first contact with the court, but I'm not sure what you've expected or what you have done in other courtrooms, but this is very different. I'm going to hold you to what I ordered you to do.
Yes,
so you owe significant amount in restitution.
It's $11,433.
You have been on ILC for over a year. You have not done anything, and you continue to break the law. The next time you appear before me, you better have a solid plan in place, or you are going into custody. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
You owe $11,000 to the victim in this case. You don't seem to care that I've ordered you to do things. You come to court dressed very inappropriately, and I'm telling you right now, I don't know what your contact with the court has been in the past, but it's going to be different when you come in here to see me again. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Because the next time I see you, if you haven't done something, you are going into custody. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all.
My big question is, besides stepping outside the house to go grab your mail, why would you think this was okay to even just go out the house looking like this in the first place? Even if we give her a mulligan and say she couldn't connect the dots, her brain didn't realize that it wasn't just a visit. Courthouse, they're just not going to have you coming down just to do tours. They got you down for a reason. You did something wrong, and now you got to go there for a court date. But even if we were to give her the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that aspect, she still thought, hey, I'm just going for a visit. I could go looking like this, no problem. I can walk into a courthouse building looking like that, even if it's just for a visit. That's the part we know that she was okay with, because she said it, which is absolutely wild. And it also tells us that when it comes to If she'll do it going into a courthouse building, you know she'll do it when it comes to going to the grocery store, her kid's school, post office, basically any other place of business where we see this sort of activity where women will come out the house looking like this. She'll do it going to these places also, if she'll do it at a courthouse.
I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends the other day, and she was telling me how she has a male friend who she's interested in romantically. And I said, have you said anything to him? And she was like, no. And I said, why not? And she said, well, he should get my hints. And I said, hints? What hints? She's like, I mean, the way I act around him and all this stuff. And I was like, the way you act around him? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, he should see that I like him. And I was just like, so why don't you just tell him that you like him? And she's like, well, I don't do that. I don't chase men. And I was like, like chasing men and letting a man know that you're interested in him are two different things. Chasing a man is once he knows that you like him and he's still not giving you any type of time of day or whatever. He kind of has you just kind of lingering over here. Letting a man know, and I don't necessarily mean like, hey, I like you, but giving him some subtle hints at least to let him know that you like him is two totally different things. And I was like, so how do you think he's going to know that you like him if you never say anything? She's like, well, he's going to have to figure it out. And I had to tell her, like, in this day and time, men are not approaching women, which is really weird to me. But I had to sit back and think, like, why aren't men approaching women? And I've come up with the thought of maybe it has to do with COVID and the Me Too movement. COVID, we were in the house for a year and a half by ourselves. And so we've just kind of learned how to, one, be by ourselves. And two, the Me Too movement, let me tell you something. If you talk or get with the wrong woman, they can ruin your whole life. I mean, just look at Shannon Sharp. He just lost his job at ESPN because he wanted some little young OnlyFans model who he was in a relationship with, but then turned around and said, oh yeah, you sexually assaulted me, you raped me, the R word and all these other things. And it's just like, what? So yeah, men, I think, gentlemen, if I'm wrong, let me know. But this is just my thought process, that men are just kind of like, just being cautious. Like, yeah, I'm not approaching women because, also in the day of social media, women will do dumb things like posting on social media and be like, oh, look at this guy, he tried to talk to me, oh, he's weird, so it's like, I think men are just like, I'm good. Like, if you're interested, let me know. But other than that, I'm just going to keep it moving. That's how I perceive it. And honestly, if I was a man, that's probably how I would perceive it too. Because like I said, women would be like, he sexually assaulted me. Blanche, all he did was touch your elbow. Now everything is creepy. Everything is a sexual assault. Everything is unwanted attention. Men would usually be like, hi, how you doing? Smile. Oh, you look good today. Now women are like, what do you mean? Why are you smiling at me? What do you mean I look good today? Everything is taken so out of context. So yeah, if I was a man, I wouldn't say anything to women. I'm going to keep it moving. Unless you stop me and be like, hey, I like you. I'd be like, all right. Keep it moving. So fellas, let me know, am I off? Am I putting too much thought into this? Like I said, it was just my thought, because I was just trying to figure out, like, what has happened over the past few years, because I could go anywhere. I could be at the gas station, the grocery store, walking down the street, and men would be like, they would stop me, hey, I find you attractive, can I get your number, whatever. I get stares. They looking at me, I'm looking at him. They looking at me, I'm looking at him. And we looking like, are we gonna say anything? So yeah, that's my thought process. Let me know. What is the reason? What is the reason? What is the reason?
Are there guys who still talk to women? Of course. I was just at a bar the other day, me and a friend. We're both in relationships, but we were at the bar, and I could clearly see guys approaching women. I could clearly see guys who were shooting their shots, what may have you. But do you think it's occurring nearly as much as perhaps it normally once did in the past? Or what women are used to or accustomed to when it comes to male attention? That's really the question. Women are used to getting a certain amount of male attention, and that level of male attention really doesn't exist anymore for them. You know, because there's two different ways to look at this. Women get male attention on social media, which can come in freaking millions and millions of views, depending on who they are and what they're posting, and likes. And so they'll get that type of attention from guys when they post a picture, and they get the hey beautifuls or hey queens, shea butter princess, and all that kind of stuff. And then it's the attention they get in real life, which can mess with their head and their ego, because they'll get attention on social media, but then they don't get it in real life. And so there's this disconnect from what social media is presenting versus what real life is presenting. Yeah, a lot of guys are over it. They're kind of checked out. They're not really into the whole trying to approach women, especially if it's a cold approach type of situation and she's not giving any type of signal. And then other guys are simply, you know, you have to give them some type of real signal. You can't make it a guessing game. You have to make it pretty evidently clear that you want him to approach, or you want him to grab your attention, because yeah, you can get accused of a lot of things nowadays. As she said, women are out here trying to get gotcha moments, posting, you know, men on social media, talking about, you know, story times, or catching pics of them and saying, hey, this guy's a weirdo. So yeah, to think that guys aren't going to be a bit more cautious out there when they're in the dating market would be ridiculous to not take that into consideration, because they are going to be.
You ever chill with somebody and they ain't try to hit, and you was like, oh, I'm ugly. Now, that must be such a prostitutional way of thinking, but I hung out with this nigga one time, and he the first person who showed me who Dr. Umar was. He was like this cool, like, low-key ass nigga. He wasn't really hood, but he lived in the hood, and he invited me over. So I forgot what the documentary was called. I think it's called Colors, or Behind the Hidden Colors, or Behind the Hidden Lights, or Behind the Star Spangled Banner. I forgot what it was called, but Dr. Umar was in there, and he was explaining everything about Jesus, all that. For real. So, you know how long the documentary is? We watched the whole thing. No moves was made. I literally set up in his bed, Indian style, against my back against the wall. And he sat on the other side with no shirt on and some basketball shorts, interested in having dialogue with me. Netflix, I think Netflix had came out, or maybe it was the red box, or maybe we still, I don't know what we was doing. We was pirates on the internet. But for you to watch a 3.5 hour documentary, 4 hours, and you not even try not one thing, not a rub, not a cuddle, not a nothing, you don't like me. I hung out with him again. He reminded me of Andre 3000. I think that's why I liked him. We watched another movie all the way through, and that's when I said, garbage, yo, I'm not fucking with him. I'm straight. I'm straight like the letter I. Straight like the L. Straight. Cause that was some I don't like you type shit. I'm tripping.
The only reason she's in this situation is because of a lack of intentionality. And clearly she's in a space right now where she's not looking for nothing serious. So that's evident. She's not looking for a serious guy, because she was expecting him to make a move. She wanted him to make a move. And when it didn't come on the first nor the second time, it made her feel some sort of way as far as, is he even attracted to her? Does he even like her? But that also goes to show, too, a lack of the communication that was being had between both of them, where it wasn't discussed as far as what they were both looking for. And so if he's looking for something more serious and trying to find a girlfriend because he's tired of just hooking up, if that's something he did or didn't do in the past, then making a move on a woman the first night she comes over wouldn't be the thing you look to do for a guy who's looking for a serious, committed relationship. Now, she's not looking for that. She's looking just to still have her fun, it sounds like. She's ready to still be out in the streets getting cracked by guys who invite her over for Netflix and chill. But the communication wasn't there as far as, so they both understand exactly what they were getting into. And that's really why her ego took a hit when he didn't make a move on her, is because That's what she's expecting. And he doesn't make a move, it's gonna mess with a woman's head, mess with her ego, especially when they're actually feeling the guy and they want him to make that move. But two people who are on different pages. She still want to be out in the streets, and perhaps he's ready to actually look for something serious. Anyway, guys, questions, comments, thoughts, and your feedback, drop them down below. I appreciate when you guys take the time to chime in. Don't forget, you enjoy any part of the content, make sure you smash the like button for more, subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.